I don't know about this. Something's not quite right. Excuse me, do you know?
Oh, God! I've got heartaches by the number. Love that I can't win. Counting, that's my world will end.
Even after 2 years, Fallout 4's game engine continues to hold up exceptionally well.
What the fuck?
But occasionally is prone to going a little mental. Especially when you start rooting around in the game's files trying to make certain things happen for a machinima. So I don't need these. I've already talked through a number of issues that can occur when messing with Fallout 4 extensively. But here are some more. You can't edit the faces of any characters wearing clothes that hang down their body, or else everything completely freaks out and the character will usually fucking disappear. When recording conversations, characters just wander off in the middle of a sentence for absolutely no sodding reason. Alright, see you later, you dick. Using the human form of Valentine for any scene is impossible because he keeps taking a screwdriver to his fucking wrist like some sort of suicidal mechanic. When you make objects smaller, their physical meshes remain in the same locations, so resized objects cannot be used to interact with other parts of a set. For example, like this. A little suspect. Close-ups during dialogue cause the camera to enter the characters' faces. Reloading a game totally fucks up objects that are placed in delicate positions, like my pristine beer collection, which have managed to jitter their way off the fucking shelf through reloading and now lay dashed on the floor like my boyhood dreams. Companions are hard-coded into the game as being essential, and upon hours of messing with files, I've been unable to make them killable. There are mods that make it possible to kill companions, but these characters are so ingrained in the game's files as being essential. Any mods that allow you to kill them are overwritten as soon as they become your active companion and they can't die.
No, he's fine, don't worry.
With these mods on though, they can be killed when they are not following you as an active companion and are just going about their daily lives. Oh, young girl whose name I can't remember. I am so happy I am no longer a companion of that frozen guy from the vault and can live out my days here in Diamond City. I am just happy all my limbs are attached to my body.
Well, she's fucking dead now.
The problem that this causes is that recording scenes is easiest when the NPCs you are using are your companions. You can ask them questions to get their mouth moving for dialogue, and you can tell them to stand wherever you like. It makes things really easy. So if you want a companion you are recording with to suddenly die in the middle of a scene you are making, you first have to dismiss them so they can become killable. The only real issue with this is that the second you dismiss them, they immediately wander off and you can no longer tell them where to go, so you have to use console commands to move them back where you want them specifically, and then you can kill them. Which isn't so bad, really. But, what's that? You want to record a scene where this companion dies while sitting in a chair? Well, I don't know. What do you think of that, Fallout 4?
Fuck off!
An example of when I had to kill someone that was sitting down was when I was recording Fry sitting in the cryo chamber during my Futurama remake. Basically, I wanted to blow him up out of the chair like this. But because he was a companion, he's an essential NPC, and they generally respond to a nuclear explosion like this. How immersive. The thing is, there is no easy way to ask an NPC to sit down somewhere unless they are your companion.
Yeah? Huh? Yes?
So if you want to get a character sitting there, you get them as your companion and ask them to sit.
Go check that out.
That's impossible to reach. I'm not a magician, you know?
So if you want to get a character sitting there, you get them as your companion and ask them to sit. Then to make them killable so that you can blow them up out of the chair, you dismiss them as your companion.
I think it's about time we called it quits.
But the second you dismiss them, they stand up out of the chair, so this doesn't work. What you can do is put a chair down in the location you want it, and spawn a random killable NPC, and then just wait until they eventually sit down in it by speeding up the game time and waiting. Oh, sit the fuck down. Once they finally sit down, you can edit their face and clothes to look like the NPC you want to die in that scene, and then kill them. Scene acquired. Through all of this nonsensical complaining, Fallout 4's greatest quality when it comes to making machinima is its settlement building. Intuitive, simple, and with a few mods, you can throw together the perfect scene in just an hour or so. But But if you want to build a set in a very busy area like a town or a city, you generally have to delete some objects to make space for that set, or just move some stuff around to tweak the available lighting, which I'm going to get into in a second. To do this effectively, you have to turn off combined objects, which in a very busy location like this can cause the frame rate to fucking die. What I mean by all this is that within a settlement, which is a specific area cordoned off by the game, you can delete or move pretty much any object you like. This is because almost everything in these areas is made up of smaller, deletable objects stuck together. Like this building, for example. Each time I click on it and type delete, only parts of it disappear at a time. To help you imagine this, you could say all the settlements are put together like they would be in Minecraft. Oh fuck, not again. However, when you are outside of a settlement, large objects like buildings are now all one thing. Like this building here, which is not in a settlement. I can no longer delete it. I can't even delete smaller parts of it. When I click on it and try and delete it, the game just says I've picked a non-reference AV object, which basically means I can't select or manipulate it. Whew. So let's say I'm filming a scene in this lovely courtyard within the main city. This courtyard is one of the few places in the game that has buildings that aren't totally destroyed, so I like to use it for scenes where shit shouldn't be destroyed. But the sunlight I want for this scene is being blocked out by this building overlooking it. This area isn't marked as a settlement, so the buildings in it act just like the last one I showed you. They can't be moved or deleted to unblock any light. So what do? You guessed it. No, in reality, we turn off combined objects. This is done by changing a 1 to a 0 in an ini file. What this specifically does is break down most of the larger objects in the game into smaller pieces, and now they all behave like the first building I showed you that was very Minecraft-esque. Huh? Now that I've done this, I can delete this building piece by piece and have some lovely sunlight on my face. However, since this change turns most of the large objects in the game into hundreds of smaller pieces, every building in the city is now being rendered in hundreds of tiny parts. So this change alone will cost you roughly 30 FPS. So when you record, you have to try and hide the obvious frame rate drops by not making the scene too crazy. And then once you film the scene, you can turn the 0 back to a 1. Everything fixes itself and you can load up the game again with no problems. And an enormous thank you to Jerry the Hero, Austin Howard, and Trent for your extremely generous donations. I am so grateful to all of you for all your help. Thank you so much and have a great holiday.